Hey, how's Death Valley going?
Oh, is it hot here?
Is
Whew.
it
I
really?
might need to take off my shirt. A lot of people ask, me, they're shocked when I talk about going every January to Death Valley.
Yeah,
And it's because the temperatures are very, very
absolutely.
nice, 65 to 75,
Yeah,
and the crowds are pretty low.
yeah,
It's pretty
really
nice.
low.
Good time. January, December, February is getting a little warm for me.
Yeah, it
Although,
actually, especially into February. And hey, I understand there's even wildflowers there already. So it'll be interesting to see if we find some of those. And then I wonder if Manly Lake is still a lake. It was only an inch deep or so. I
yeah,
hope there's still some
yeah,
water there.
it was an unusual year. We'll see what happens.
Well, that
Hey,
flood.
I love quotes. We both love music. I've got a great quote I thought
Okay.
we would use to start
All
a
right.
new discussion. This is by Rick Rubin, and you can tell a little bit about Rick
Well, Rick
Rubin.
Rubin's a famous record producer. He's produced, I mean, many, many. I wish I could remember off the top of my head. I can't, but well known. And he has a recent book all about creativity.
Okay. Well, this is a Rick Rubin quote, and I hope my internet's holding up here. I love this. The audience comes last. I believe that. I'm not making it for them. I'm making it for me. And it turns out that when you make something for truly for yourself, you're doing the best thing you can for the audience. So much of why you go to the movies, so many big movies are just not good. It's because they're not being made by a person who cares about it. They're being made by people who are trying to make something that they think someone else is going to like. And that's not how art works. That's something else. It's not art, it's commerce. So if we're
Uh-huh.
making art, it's almost like a diary entry. Should I be concerned that somebody else might not like my diary entry? It doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with them. My diary entry has nothing to do with anyone else. So everything we make as artists are essentially diary entries.
Wow. Wow.
Man,
Wow.
did I
Wow.
love that. Because
Wow.
I've had so many people argue with me that when you create art, you're making it for an audience. And I've never been comfortable with that. I've never agreed with that. And this expresses it just so well. That's why I love quotes, because people, not you, other people are smarter than me and can say things that just make sense with an economy of words, not like you. I love that quote.
Okay, I'm better now. No, it that what an incredible, incredible quote. Because
Unbelievable.
well, it's interesting now, and you kind of sprung this on me. You didn't tell me what the quote was, so I'm having to think here. But
Art's a
oh,
diary entry. We're making it for ourselves, and we shouldn't be concerned if somebody else doesn't like it. But it turns out, and this is the beauty of it, that when you're doing something that you're passionate about through your vision and it's for yourself, that's the greatest chance you have of reaching other people.
yeah,
And I don't know why that works.
I guess this is different. So where I was thinking here and where I was going to and trying to formulate my thought is this. So where does making something meaningful and having a purpose to art so that because there's the people who say that art should express something, it should say something. So how does that fit into this dialogue?
Well, it's when I create something and people say, what does it mean? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words. That's why I'm a photographer. If I could put it into words, I'd be a writer. And it's for you to look at and to see through the lens of your experience and to see if it says anything to you and what it says. It's not for me to say. But people say that when you create something, you're trying to communicate something. And I don't necessarily agree. I'm just expressing something. And to me, communicating and expressing are two different things. For example, when I created the Melting Giants, people universally have taken it, the meaning behind that series is that I was trying to communicate global disaster, global warming,
Oh,
these ice. I
interesting.
wasn't. Not at all. That was never a thought that entered my mind.
Interesting.
But it's not important what my thoughts were. I expressed what I expressed, and people can interpret what they interpret.
Yeah, and boy, did they interpret that differently. didn't they? I mean, in that
completely
case,
differently. To me, it was a sad
dramatically.
story that just the shortness of these gorgeous icebergs' life, how short their lives were. That
Yeah.
was my story.
Well, and then let's go to your famous body of work, Ghost of Auschwitz-Birkenau, where you have the one still person who's not a ghost, and you've never shared, and I hope you never do, what that means to you. But the response that other people have had is varied, right? There's
So many
various
different.
different, yeah.
Yeah,
So
never
so
ever, no one has ever said the one that I had. That's what's so ironic to me. Of all, I must have heard 15 different interpretations of that shot. Not one was mine. And that's a
so
good thing.
yeah, so
Some
that
people would
is so
say,
that go ahead,
some
I'm
would say
sorry.
I'm a poor communicator. I didn't do my job well. I say no. I expressed what I expressed, and it's wonderful. Other people saw something that was meaningful to them.
I think you've answered my question then, and I'm glad we've had this discussion. I love these when they're sort of organic, like not sort of when they're organic like this, because that's the bottom line is if so. I guess what I'm coming to in this discussion is I shouldn't necessarily go out with a purpose in mind to create a body of work or an image even that's going to express X so that you will then jump on board and see it the way I see it. Rather, if we go back to Rick Rubin's quote, rather, I should just be making diary entries. I should just be making entries and images that are expressive of that moment in time that I'm connecting with that particular scene. And that's what it is. And then not worry at all about what the viewer's reaction to that is. And whether I've been successful or not is irrelevant in creating an image that expresses that intent. Rather, allow the viewer then at that point to take over and view those images from their vision, from their life experiences, and interpret it to be whatever the heck they want it to be without a worry whatsoever for whether
Oh,
it's in
I
agreement with
agree with
mine.
everything except for I shouldn't. You started it with I
Okay.
shouldn't. That's how I work, and that's clearly how Rick Rubin sees it. But I know that there are others who work differently. And there are people who are trying to make a political statement or an environmental statement or a social statement. And to them, they are trying to convey a message. So they would completely disagree with this approach. But this is me and this is my approach because I am not trying to change the world with my images. I am making diary entries. They are meaningful to me. And if I'm lucky, they also touch someone else. But as we've seen, they may touch people in a different way than I expressed it.
Yeah. But I love
But
Ruben's
it
comment
takes
that
the, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
It takes the burden off of me of trying to do something. I'm not. I'm just expressing myself. I'm not trying to convince you of a point of view or to convey a message. I just wrote a diary entry. And if you read my diary, which you should never do, John, read
I don't
somebody
have
else's
no
diary.
interest.
Yeah.
It would be boring beyond boring. I got up today, I put on my pants, I had pancakes again.
I've never kept a journal, and I know a lot of people who do, and that's very important to them.
Yes.
Uh, have you ever kept one?
I on and off I've done it. Yeah, I'm not faithful, but I do try diligently often.
I think because it's hard for me to again express myself feelings or emotions.
Sure.
As you know, I'm rather a cold individual. I don't take to verbal communication or writing.
Yeah,
Uh,
although you're eloquent in your speaking, so I think
well,
you could do
if
that.
I'm speaking about something I'm passionate about, but if I'm trying to share feelings and things, I do it better through
Yeah.
my images.
I would
Yeah.
agree. Well, thanks
Diary
for sharing
entries.
that quote. He right on the money. What a nice way to think moving forward about, just journal entries, diary entries is what we're doing. And I love that he's making such a resounding point about the idea that that's not the way art's done. You don't get 50 people in a because that's what I'm imagining. Hollywood gets together and says, "We need another Marvel comic winner." So let's
Yeah.
go out and get the five top writers, and they'll come up with a really cool idea. That's certainly that's commerce. I like that
We'll
word
do
that
focus
that's
groups and yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, but if we're talking about art, you're making art from right here, man. That's where art's coming from. And if you don't like it, oh well. Tough.
And he's creating music for others. And yet his opening statement is the audience comes last. I believe that. I'm not making it for them. I'm making it for me. And it
Yeah.
turns out that when you make something truly for yourself, doing the best you possibly, you're doing the best you possibly can for the audience. To be honest, to be sincere, to really do something that you feel passionate about.
Yeah.
That's such an important ingredient that we often leave out. We think it's our location or our sharpness of our images or many other things. And it's really about the emotional impact. How vested are you in this image?
Yeah.
So,
Amen, brother. Good
okay.
quote, man. Thanks for sharing that. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay.